What's up, Buck fans? Happy Buck Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of Bucs Report, the Aftermath, 102.9 The Game, Broad Street South Radio. It's your boy, AJ Turn up in the house. We got Slick, a.k.a. the British guy who's always fly. What's going on?
Hey, man, we're just getting through this, ready for this draft, finding which way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go. We're just here. The Buccaneers cleared a bit of his cap space, and maybe a trade could be incoming. Maybe another signing could be incoming. So you don't know what the Buccaneers are going to do, but the Bucs stops here. The Buccaneers are cooking. I'm ready for it. Even if it's just draft picks, I'm fine with that. You've got to have that little bit of money just in case somebody comes available. April Fools is over. You don't have to look at the bullshit that people were putting up.
I know.
And there was some interesting ones. I heard that we signed Von Miller, Calais Campbell, and somebody else. And I was like, oh, okay.
No, the best one that I saw, and I said, ooh, no, this person might be onto something. Trey Hendrickson got traded to the Bucs for a third.
I mean, I'd give up a first if the contract was nice.
That's what we're saying. You never know. And apparently, he went on the Pat McAfee show and talked about his disgust. I think his issues with how the Bengals are handling the situation. Again,
I mean, they got an elite pass rusher, and they don't give two hoots about that fucking defense. All they're trying to do is put talent around Burrow, and no one's saying they shouldn't. But at the same time, you ain't gonna win. You ain't gonna win. Fuck all. You're gonna be an extremely entertaining team to watch because you'll be able to sling it any which way, and you will win games, but you ain't winning no fucking chip.
You're not even.
I know it's that cliche phrase of defense wins championships, but you have to have a passable defense to be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
the playoffs are the ultimate signifier of where you really are, right?
Right.
You get the playoffs and you're one and done. It means you got work to do, right? If you're in the playoffs and you hang around a little bit and you're competitive, then you have less work to do. But you can't go in there with a shitty ass fucking defense and expect to win against people like Patrick Mahomes, like the likes of Josh Allen, the likes of Lamar Jackson, right? It's not going to happen. You're going to be eliminated straight away. That Super Bowl run that they had, where they had the shittiest offensive line of all time, yeah, I get it. They held together for a good while. They leached off a little bit of momentum, but when it was all said and done,
they lost.
You see it. They just went up against the right team that was ready to just bulldoze them into fucking oblivion.
Mind you, yes, this is what we're saying, ladies and gentlemen. You have to have a team in a competent defense. They don't always got to be great. Competent is where you need it. And again, entertaining. The Bengals have yet to learn. History has repeated themselves, Slick. We saw this shit already with Palmer, Hushmanzada, Ocho Cinco, Henry. No defense whatsoever. They're not going to the playoffs. Why? That defense isn't going to get shit done. And
what conference they play in? The AFC fucking North, the most physical fucking thing. You think that they're gonna fucking get away with it? It don't matter who you got. Those defenses will eat you alive, and not only that, their offenses are good enough to stay on par with you.
And that's where people just don't understand how football works in that aspect. Like
I mean, they're fighting for whoever it is. They're fighting for second place, right? Because
you're fighting for second
place.
But here's the thing that I see what happened. They'll be lucky to split with the Browns. I think the Steelers will beat them twice. I think Baltimore will beat them twice this year because I just honestly think Baltimore is going to really try to cash everything in for their Super Bowl run because Lamar is getting, they want him to win. The Steelers, they'll find a way. I think if they get their shit together offensively and they can be an average offense and get a quarterback that can just get the job done, they'll be fine. The Browns, despite that their quarterback situation, they still got a good defense. Like you said, you got Myles Garrett, J.J. Watt, and you got the Steelers defense coming at poor Joe Burrow. And they haven't even addressed the offensive line issue. Even if they draft 2 solid offensive linemen, Slick, we know this. It takes time to develop. It takes time, and Burrow has been injury prone. Cincinnati, take care of your team, not players. The team comes before the players.
It's that, like, have you ever seen the meme of I think they used Joe Burrow in this, and it's him on his ass, but Chase Young with Chase with the ball in his hand, and there's another one of him of him cleaning the fucking pocket. Nobody's open. It's like, which one are you going to go with? Well, the real answer is maybe you let Higgins slide and you go and draft somebody else as a few. But we can't keep everyone, so we're going to let this guy go, and we're going to strengthen our defense, and we're going to increase the offensive line, and look at other players, because they are not just two wide receivers. There's the slot receiver that they got. There's other players in play. You can survive without one if you strengthen, augment other things. But I think, like, if you're going to go down the route, we're going to have like the best wide receiver duo in football. Okay, that's fine. But what happens if you can't run the fucking football?
What happens if
happens if your defense can't stop anybody?
And even with your offense, there are defenses out there that can stop Chase Young and Higgins. Oh, and here's the kicker. God forbid they get hurt, because now you're adding on pressure to these guys who Higgins is prone to being injured. He's injury prone. So now, let's say if that fucks up, Slick, now you have set your team back and you're putting more pressure on Burrow, because what if he doesn't trust the next receivers coming up, which thus gets him in more situations of getting fucked up. This is why we were saying that, ladies and gentlemen, Bengals, they're not doing it right. The Eagles and Bucs do it right. They're taking care of the big picture, which is the team. Everybody in that locker room knows, in the Bucs organization, we know who you are. We know you're a star, but can you dish it out for the team? We're going to do as much as we can to pay you right, but we want this team to be legit. There's no reason to have all this fucking money, but your team doesn't go anywhere, and then you fuck up your legacy. And that's what's going to happen, Slick. Their defense, Hendrickson, if I'm Hendrickson, I demand a fucking trade, or you get the bag is important for him, I'm sure, but what the fuck? Hell, either you pay me, like, I ain't saying Myles Garrett money, but if you're going to, I need to get some real money if I'm going to stay here and do this shit on my own.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't do it. So, guys, again, Bengals fans, I feel for you. Your fucking GM and owner, they don't know what they're doing. I would not pay Chase Young, and if you're banking on this on this year's draft, oh, you're really fucked. There is no superstars in this draft. You don't have pieces in your defense already enough to draft depth. You got to get at least 4 of your first 4 picks. Got to knock it out of the park. They have to be instant starters, day one starters. 2 of them got to be at a superstar level. Oh my gosh. Do y'all know how hard that is? Do you know how hard that is?
We know how hard it is, because that's what we had to do.
That's what we had to do. Exactly. So this is why it's important that you take care of the team first. And if you have players that just think of them, fuck them. Let them go. I would have let T. Higgins go. I'd be like, T. Higgins, test your luck somewhere else.
What, fucking around, fucking playing with the Ferraris or some shit?
Oh, the racing thing. Oh, that was just dumb. I told people already, and they were like, well, they got to let off steam. Let off steam. Let that shit off in the fucking gym. You crash your car. You crash. Now you're putting the team at risk. Now, not only that.
What about if you hurt somebody else?
Riggs, yeah. What if you hurt somebody else?
Hey, there's a million, like, if I was, I'm not a big car person, but if I was, you know what I would do? I would take it to a test track, and I'd have the fucking time of my life, because at least then you're in a position where you can't hurt anybody else, and the whole thing's built around you driving like a maniac. You can't fucking do that on the streets. You can't do that on the highway. You can't do that anywhere. You shouldn't do that anywhere. The responsible person doesn't. You get on a track, you have a bit of fun, you let off some steam. You don't race anybody, because that's just stupid, because that's when accidents happen, because egos get fucking blurred and crash into each other. You take it to a test track and you play around with that thing, and you can have yourself a good time. If anything goes wrong, there are people available to sort out any issues that could happen. But mostly, for the most part, you're playing on a fucking giant track, so it's not like you're going to fucking go into a brick wall and kill yourself. So the chances of things going wrong are much more limited. And you can really test out your car. Like, you can't do that on the highway. You can't do that without like putting other people in danger. Take it to a test track and have a bit of fun.
Have a bit of fun, and more important, like you said, you hurt somebody. Now a piece of that new contract you got is going to them. I tell you what, Stick, they fuck around and chip.
Not to say if you miss fucking time, you're not going to get fucking paid either, because I'm pretty sure the contract's not covered being a twat on the fucking.
Yes.
I just want to let you know I've broken fucking 5 bones in my leg, and I won't be able to play this year. They were like, yeah, good luck collecting that check, bro.
Mm-hmm. And again, whatever's guaranteed, I'm taking your ass to court. I get a pinky nail chipped, $5 million. He was driving reckless at 120 miles an hour, and I was in fear for my life. I'm having PTSD. I'm crying. I'm scared. I don't even want to get out and go into my car. I get whiplash syndrome. all that shit because you want.
And people do that now, man. That's the thing.
Oh, I know. This is America. We come up with the most crazy shit. But again, you know why they're driving on regular streets? All that shit that you just said, Slick, they know this. It's just to flex. It's to fucking flex. If you want to flex on the fucking field with a touchdown and your team winning.
The DUI shit. They are so fucking rich. In the world of Uber, no one who's a professional athlete should get a DUI. Why? Because the moment you think you're remotely intoxicated, you can ring up and go, I'll get an Uber. Someone else. You are so rich that you can just go, I'll get an Uber, and I'll get an Uber tomorrow to take me back to my car.
Right. And if it's an off day, it ain't like you got to clock in anywhere. You can simply leave your shit there, and somebody and
I mean, these guys have more than one, right? No one's just got the Ferrari. They've got a normal-esque car at home, or a couple of cars. You know, well, I mean, if I was stupidly rich, I think I'd have like the day car, and I'd have like the weekend car. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's aesthetically pleasing. You know, ticks all those boxes.
I look at it as a priority, Slick. My body is my product. My body is what puts food on the table. My body is what take care of my children, my family. My body is what is going to help me establish generational wealth. And if I want to do things for my community or whatever, I can do so because I'm in that position, because I have the ability. Like you said, you crash and break your fucking 5 bones or something, a femur bone or something, you're out for the season. Even if you rehab it, Slick, it's not guaranteed you come back the same. Everybody looks at the AP Adrian Peterson stories and think, well, I'm going to do that. That's not always true. Everyone is not the same.
It's simple. Just protect yourself. Don't do anything fucking stupid.
Don't do anything fucking stupid. And that's why we love Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, because they are legit bona fide badasses, and their resume speaks for itself. And they're still, and you know what the beautiful thing is, ladies and gentlemen? They're paid. They're still paid. If you can't live off of $66 million, you're an idiot.
Hell, I'll tell you one thing, right? And then you've been into football a lot longer than me. So I'm going to defer to your superior knowledge on this. There have been a lot of great wide receivers, a lot of great football players that have come through the NFL in the last 20 years.
100%.
How many of them have done the fuck around and find out and gone on to be Hall of Famers?
None.
Like, you know, fucking around in sports cars. I mean, without us remembering every single story, because it doesn't. But I'd say it's not that high, because you got Deion Sanders, right? one of the greats of all time at the cornerback position. I mean, it's before my time, but I don't remember him fucking street racing fucking cars. Yeah, he had his thing, but he was all about him and what he could do. That was his brand, right? I'm the fucking superstar. I'm the brand. And I always say to people, like, a friend of mine said to me, Steve, you earn a decent living. Why don't you drive a Mercedes or a BMW or a Tesla or whatever? And I went, because I don't need one. And they went, what do you mean you don't need one? I went, because when people are around me, they're around me because of me, not because of the fucking car I drive. I don't need a car to sell me. This right here is the brand. I am the fucking brand. If I need a fucking car to sell me, then I'm probably not worth knowing.
Amen. Amen. And that's the problem right there. And the Slick, there's been no people who've fucked around and did bullshit and went to the Hall of Fame, especially in the past 20 years. If anything,
you gotta work, man.
There's stories of
people come back to fight you.
Yeah, Josh Gordon, Weed Man, Tenard Jackson, the Weed Man,
Michael Vick.
It's just been too many. Now he redeemed himself. He's an anomaly, but
he's gonna be in no Hall of Fame. He ain't gonna be in no Hall of Fame.
No, he probably won't be a Hall of Fame. If he is, it will take a few tries. But you're right. The point is,
we're talking, he'll be like in his 50s, and they'll go, "Yeah, this generational quarterback that was amazing," because he was. No one's going to deny his talent was great. The thing is, he didn't achieve a lot. You know, he didn't win
exactly
any gift or anything.
And that's the point, Buck fans and people out there who are just fans in life, man. Like, just don't do stupid shit when you have been blessed with an ability. You are getting paid 1% money in the United States, ladies and gentlemen. Like Slick, they get 1% money that 95% of people in America will never see in their life, and you're squandering it for a few fucking clicks or a few attention for a few bras that wouldn't even fuck with your ugly ass if you didn't have the funds, or fucking around with people who don't care about you until they saw the dollar bills. So stick to the game. The game will take care of you if you take care of yourself and you honor it. Like, just fucking respect it, and it will respect you. Evans and Godwin and all these other players are going to be, who got their shit together, you know, are going to have a long living life afterwards. So that's all we're trying to say. But I got a scenario that I want to get into, Slick, because, you know, we've been talking about the draft, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to talk about, you know, a few other things that I saw out there. Because one thing, I want you to understand, Buck fans, when it comes to legends in football, the Bucs are always on the top of that list within 4 to 5 positions. And I'm going to give it to you. Slick, now I want you to take a look at this. Pick the 2 best players on this list.
I'm going Ray Lewis and I'm going Derek Brooks.
That's the only answer, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only answer. All right, because people like to talk, but Slick, I'm going to give you.
He just didn't last long enough to like really have a lasting impression in the league, and I think that's the only thing I would give him like that went wrong for him. He wasn't built for long-term league, and I think a lot of people go, "Oh yeah, but he was amazing for his years." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. I'm never going to disagree." But the guys on either side on the top, they were great for a consistently long time, and when your voice is echoing in those sentences, Ray Lewis probably a little bit more because he was on a more popular team, and his brand was big because he was a brash dude. He said his piece. He was a guy who always said his piece and what have you. Whereas, I mean, you're looking at Levante David before Levante David was Levante David, right? In Derek Brooks,
right?
Calm, collected, did his work, didn't ask for anything else. No ego, and I'd say Luke Kuechly's that kind of guy. I don't think he was a mega like ego kind of dude. But I think time is what goes against him versus the others, because you look, he was great for 7 years or 8 years. These guys at the top of the top either side, they were great 12 years plus.
Amen. And I'm going to just read you Ray Lewis's accolades just so people out there don't understand. His total tackles is 2,059, 41 and a half sacks, 67 pass deflections, 31 interceptions, 17 forced fumbles, 20 fumble recoveries, 3 defensive touchdowns, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 2003, 7-time first team All-Pro, third second team All-Pro, 13 Pro Bowls. Come on. The man, and let's, okay. And since we're talking about him, how about we look at Derek Brooks' stats? Are you ready, Slick? Are you ready?
The accolades.
Let's read them accolades. Super Bowl champion, NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 2002, Walter Payton Man of the Year, which is incredible, 5-time first team All-Pro, 4-time second team All-Pro, 11-time Pro Bowler. Oh, yeah, him and Ray Lewis are on the NFL 2000s All-Decade team. You got both of them can hit and cover. Now, Ray was more the best physically, but again, the only person on this list, Coach Slick, that tackled Michael Vick open field is Derek Brooks. Mm-hmm. Derek Brooks. Give it to Derek Brooks, y'all. Can you imagine if Derek Brooks and Ray Lewis were on the same team, on the same defense? That wouldn't be fair. That would not be fair. Can you, and you could put them in any type of defense, a 4-3 or 3-4, they'd kill. They would kill.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I wanted to bring this up because you had people in the live was trying to talk about Kuechly and all right, and Willis. In my personal opinion, Slick, I like Patrick Willis over Luke Kuechly. I think Patrick Willis was far more athletically superior than Kuechly. He could do a lot. I can give you Patrick Willis's. I mean, Kuechly had some good stats.
I'll tell you what, I'll get up Kuechly and you get up Patrick Willis.
Patrick Willis, Patrick Willis's stats, Patrick Willis had 732 solo tackles, 20.5 sacks, 16 forced fumbles, and 8 interceptions. He was NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2007. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler. I already know Kuechly stats.
Mm-hmm.
Kuechly.
18 ITs, 1 IT touchdown, 7 forced fumbles.
Yep.
66 passes. Dude. He's a very good pass, dude.
Yeah.
And what he did. Combined 1,092 and then 690 solo, 75 tackles for a loss, 31 QB hits, 1 safety. Don't get me wrong. No one's denying that he was elite, but the problem is he only played like what 2, 4, 6, 8 years. Mm-hmm. 8 year dude. It might get him in the Hall of Fame. It might do, but you can't put him above anyone who's had a Hall of Fame level career that's spanned over 10 years and they were elite in any of those.
Exactly. I agree. I agree, and I like Kuechly and Willis, but I think those two, if they're going to go to the Hall, it shouldn't be first ballot. They should have to wait at least 2 to 3 times because it's not fair because they don't have we get what they were good at, but longevity also does count, in my opinion, a part of your legacy because, yeah, they were exciting, but it is exciting. Again, we always say it. Sexy doesn't always mean the most effective. Brooks didn't always have to be the loud guy.
Okay, means your Super Bowl window is much smaller because you have less time to win one, right?
Right.
Now, you gotta and let me add a little bit of flavor on top of this.
Yes, sir.
He only played 4 more years than his rookie contract.
Damn.
There you go. Yeah, when you think of it like that.
Damn.
He only played the same amount of time as his own rookie deal, which means I would guess off the top of my head. I don't know. He's only ever signed 2 deals in his entire career. That's his rookie deal, which is pretty much kind of fucking built through the draft, right? Mm-hmm. You can't. No one who's picked first earns less money than the number 2 or the number 3 or the number 4. It cascades, right?
Right.
As soon as that number 1 pick gets his money, everyone's has to go down.
Yep.
Those are the rules, right? It's
right.
So. His first contract wasn't negotiated. Really, it was just kind of this is what number 2 guy, this is what the such and such guy's getting, this is what the guy's getting after you, this is what you're gonna get. Okay, cool, whatever. So he's only ever signed he's only had 1 deal in his NFL career that was actually negotiated with the team.
Yeah, and I agree, and that's why I tell people. And another thing is like Ray and Derek Brooks redefine their defenses. Derek Brooks is the cover two. Ray Lewis redefined the position just of his physicality and what he can do. But again, the cover two doesn't work without Derek Brooks. He is a part of an iconic cover two defense. That the Tampa two, the Tampa two don't work without him. So, and that's why I put these guys here. Now, let's get to Urlacher and Junior Seau. I think that they were both very good statistical players, but when someone said, "Well, Urlacher," I said Urlacher ain't on Brooks level. Never have, never will be. Let's not be disrespectful. Love Junior Seau, RIP, but those guys, Willis, Kuechly, Urlacher, and Junior, are simply not Ray and Brooks. Ray and Brooks are just on a far another level than they were because they could stay healthy. Hell,
Don't get me wrong, I generally believe that if Kuechly played another 4 years,
yeah,
he probably would be one of the top guys of all time. I generally believe that.
mm-hmm.
But the problem was his body was saying, no, you can't.
Right.
And that comes into it. That comes into it. How many people have we seen that like, I'm really pleased that Sterling Sharp got his nod because he was, I think he is basically Luke Kuechly is the Sterling Sharp of linebackers.
I like that.
Probably a guy who probably could have been like in that top 10 conversation or even top 5, but couldn't because the body just couldn't go no more because of injury or what have you. He will get in, and I think he'll get in later in life, and I hope he gets in because I do rate his game.
Okay, I can dig that. See, my thing is, when it comes to the Kuechly, I like how people they talk about him, but they don't put Lavonte David in the same light. And I say Lavonte was better. Lavonte has been better. And look at what
I think they were different. I look at it. One was a better a better player against the pass, and that was Kuechly because his passes defense versus his
run defense.
His run defense is almost night and day. And I think Lavonte David was more rounded. Like, he could play a bit of both.
Yep.
At quite a high level. I would say, like, it's hard to really quantify it, but Luke Kuechly versus the pass, like, his interceptions and his passes defense were fucking phenomenal. The guy, ability to read quarterbacks and make plays was just phenomenal. His run defense he was no slouch at it, but it wasn't as pronounced as someone like a Lavonte David who'd make you put the ball on the ground.
Right. I agree. I can agree with that. Now, here's the real kicker. Now, I want you to rank them from 1st to 6. I want to see what you say.
Let's go Ray Lewis, number 1. He is the GOAT of all linebackers. He played in an era where it was still physical. He transcended into the era where it wasn't. Where it started to like kind of soften up a little bit. Yep. He played in the AFC North, which is probably one of the most physical position. You look at the kind of dudes that played in there, running back wise, that he had to contend with, and he could pick off the ball. What he brought to the game as well with his antics and his personality, I think it instantly puts him as a number 1 dude. I was about to say Lavonte David. Derek Brooks is number 2. And this is where it kind of gets it's tough,
controversial.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's too controversial in the sense of because this is where it comes opinion based. I mean, some people could argue that other people go in. I'll probably go with Patrick Willis, Junior, Junior, and then I'll probably go Kuechly. I literally would just swap from that list there. I would just swap Willis and Brooks and keep it like that.
My man. All right, we almost on the same page. Of course, one is Ray. You're right. Ray is Ray. Best out there. If it wasn't for a guy named LT out there, Ray would be considered the greatest the greatest defensive linebacker of all time.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Derek Brooks is 2. That's number 3. I would say Willis. Number 4, I would go with Junior Seau. Number 5, I would go with Urlacher. And the only reason I have Kuechly at 6 is because, like you said, his body of work, it was cut short. But Urlacher was a bad motherfucker. But you already know. I told people this. Now, Slick, I'm gonna take the screen off of this. People get mad at me. Oh, that's bullshit. When I say I would take Zach Thomas over Brian Urlacher, boy, that pisses people off. I'm like, hey, Zach Taylor was a dog. Zach did a lot of shit too that a lot of people don't like to talk about, Slick. Look, Zach Thomas had 1,090 solo tackles, 20 and a half sacks, 17 forced fumbles, 17 interceptions, 5-time All-Pro, and 7 Pro Bowls. And he did that, Slick, without a Lance Briggs. That's why I tell people, and you've known this, sometimes having another player who played at the level just as good as you, it does extend your careers. Name me the linebacker Zach Thomas played with, because people will go, well, he had Jason Taylor. That is true. I asked what linebacker did he have next to him. Can nobody name Zach Thomas's linebacker? Can you name Zach Thomas's linebacker, Slick, that was next to him?
I don't know.
And it's okay. But we know who Lance Briggs was. We know Lance Briggs. Lance Briggs was a stud. So I get it because I like that. Now, here's another controversial question, and this is for the Bucs. If Levante gets another Super Bowl, do we say that Levante has surpassed the great Derrick Brooks? Yeah, it's okay. Think on it.
It's a real tough one because they're very different players, and but no, they're not. But personality-wise, I think they're quite different. Levante David's a come to work, do his work, go home. Derrick Brooks is come to work, shake every fan's hand. I'm not saying that there's nothing cordial about Levante David, but Brooks's brand is based on fan engagement, spending time with people, helping people. Whereas Levante David he probably has his charities and he probably does a lot around. He's never really been that kind of Peyton Man of the Year nominee kind of guy. You know, he's a caring dude, but he's not Derrick Brooks caring. Right? But their play is very similar. Both play both sides very well. Both sides of their game very well. Run, pass, and sack. I would probably say Levante David's probably the better pressure dude. Both are clean, really clean in their tackles. Levante David's got an absolute knack for popping that ball out on the floor, which I think is unheralded. Like I think people look it up. He's like one of the highest in NFL history. Yes. And making people fucking cuff up the ball when he hits them. So it's technique because Levante David was never a hard hitter. When people drop the ball, when people cuff up the ball on a Ray Lewis, it's because he's hit them so fucking hard the ball came out. Levante David, it's all about that swipe. It's about that grip and the rip, you know. And I think he is such a technically sound player. Like Levante David's not a big dude. He's not particularly the fastest of dudes. He's fast, but he's not the fastest. He's fast enough. His play recognition puts him in a really high level. When you add technique to his technique skill to like getting the ball out,
yeah,
and how clean he gets, like he doesn't really. If you look at the last few seasons, and I'll bring up a name that we all remember in Devin White. Devin White played the game like he was trying to emulate. Not Levante David. He was trying to emulate a Ray Lewis. That big, punch you in the mouth, smack you in the mouth. Whereas Levante's, I'm not worried about smacking you in the mouth. That's not my job. My job is to get you on the floor because you can't gain yards when you're on the floor. So in that knee touch, it's over. You can't gain anything more. Doesn't matter how much you wriggle, shake, jump, doesn't matter. As soon as that knee goes down, I got you. It's over. So I don't need to. And that allows you to play a little bit longer as well. Because you're not trying to body a guy every single time.
Right.
But I would very similar styles of play. One's probably a little bit more communal. Not that Levante David isn't. But to go with who was better, I'll simply say they're one in the same.
1A, 1B. I like it. 1A, 1B, and it's subjective.
That's it. I mean, it's tough because they are very similar in their play style, and they're good dudes. Like they're generally nice people. the one thing I always respected about Levante Day, he hasn't had the sunshine that that Derek Brooks got. Derek Brooks got the love in comparison. I'm not saying he got a lot of love compared to like a Ray Lewis or some of those other names that are out there, because he was still unheralded and unsung hero. It wasn't until I think the Hall of Fame really kind of showcases you, and people go, "Oh yeah, I forgot that guy was a fucking stud," because they're still thinking about Urlachers and Thomases and all these other guys, right? Because the moment you go out of the public eye, like the reason that Peyton Manning got in, no one can forget how great Peyton Manning was, because he won his Super Bowls well, not all of them, but he's won Super Bowls, and one of his Super Bowls, let's face it, his corpse was dragged to it.
Yes.
And they just sat him on the throne. And he went,
yep, pretty much.
But his play was exemplary for what it was, and for his time, we hadn't seen anybody play the game the way he played it. There were a few that were similar, like your Tom Brady's, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers to a degree, but Peyton Manning was kind of that first to really break that mold of just sublime at what he did.
Yep.
And then he goes to the Hall of Fame, and everyone's like, "Yep, he's a fucking dude." Everyone knew who he was. Everyone talked about him. He had the commercials. He had everything, and it that matters when you're talking about relevancy. The commercials, how much your face is on profiles.
Yep,
that's out there. It's massive. He did those goofy golfing things with Tom Brady. He did the Manning cast before. This was all before. It was hard to lose Peyton Manning out your mindset, because he was still doing stuff around football. He had documentaries that he was putting out. I mean, he's got a whole production team that does that QB1 documentary. I think they did the wide receiver documentary as well. So he's got his fingers in a lot of pies, and he gets involved in it. Peyton's Places, I loved watching that when that came out. It was hard to get over here because it's not really something you have to really dig deep through the internet. But his personality was likable as well. He didn't come off as a bit of a jackass or anything like that, except for when he played, because all quarterbacks play soft, right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And sometimes, and again, it helps when you're playing with a high market team. Derek Brooks, he had to, in a way, Warren Sapp's personality brought a lot of publicity to Tampa, for better or for worse. So you had to look at it. And that's where I was going to go with this, Slick. Levante has how many different eras of teams that he's gone through, and he's still played at that level. And it's not to knock Derek. Derek was Derek, but people could say, well, Derek also has Simeon Rice, Warren Sapp, Rondé Barber, John Lynch for a nice period of time. People forget John Lynch was in the league before Derek Brooks. Oh, yeah.
As a linebacker.
And Derek Brooks played with along the side of Hardy Nickerson, another legend in Tampa. So imagine that. Look at we just named Hall of Famers and legends. Let's look at the people that Levante was coming up with. Gerald McCoy, that's subjective for people. Who else? Yep. Michael Bennett for 2 seasons, and that was it. That was really it until Bowles and them got there. That's when he had JPP and Shaq Barrett and the Dominican Sue.
He joins the team in 2012 with a Gerald McCoy and a Bennett, right? Bennett leaves by 13, right?
Yep.
So they have a season or two together. Gerald McCoy stays to about, I'm going to go 18.
Yep.
And we did not have any other players on our defense that were considered remotely close to elite during that time. I cannot think of a single one that you could turn around and say, that was a dude. That was a fucking dude.
We screwed Darrelle Revis. He still played solid. And he was gone.
I mean, that's it. I suppose he had in year 12, he had Rondé Barber with him in his last year, which was an elite dude, but it's not the same.
Yeah, Rondé was at the door by then.
Yeah.
Rondé was, again, look at so at this point we can go, damn. Can you imagine this? Like, what if Levante David had a Warren Sapp, Simeon Rice, Rondé Barber, to John Lynch? Lord.
I mean,
Lord.
you got Vita Vea in the 17th. It's
No,
yes,
2018. 2018.
yeah,
He came
it's
there in
2018.
2018. So yeah, 2020 was the most complete team he's ever been a part of, and that's what 2 years of having elite company
That was
with his
8 years of pain.
all right, 8 years of bullshit, and he still delivered. So if people were to say that Levante surpassed him because of that, I would not be mad. I'd go, you got a
We, we
point.
we talk about that 2020 team,
Yep.
and there are names on it, but how many would you say are elite?
Only elite, I would say. Levante was elite for his time.
JPP, I gotta give him his due. You don't
Yeah,
win 2 Super Bowls.
JPP, and then you have Ndamukong Suh,
Do you think
and everybody else.
the Dominican Sue? Do you think he goes to the Hall of Fame?
Yes, he'll go. He'll
But
go.
he'll be like a few years in, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll say it'll take him 2 tries, but he'll go.
Okay.
He can't be a
JPP,
first
you think
ballot.
JPP will?
Ooh, JPP.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
That's a tough one, but people forget JPP has played two different positions. He dominated as a
With a
defensive
hand
end
in
in
the
the
ground
4-3,
and
in the
no hand.
ground.
Yep.
And then he dominated as a 3/4 guy. So
yeah, as a backer. So he's played linebacker and D end. People can't seem to see the difference, but there is a fucking difference.
there's a big ass difference. And I'll let, if you want to give them the quick X and O's of that.
The hand in the dirt is a start, and then it's usually a wider technique.
Yep.
Wider technique, and there's more people on the line. If you think about it, because you'll have 2 outside backers.
Yep.
Your nose, and then 2 ends on either side. So that's 5. That's 5 people realistically. Yeah.
Yep.
You might not blitz it. You might not send it. Not everyone might be going. You might send somebody else from somewhere else. In a 3-4, you've only got 4 guys, so it does make a bit. It does make a bit of difference. One might say that you're not always going to go toe to toe with a offensive tackle. The other one, you are definitely going toe to toe with an offensive tackle every single play, and that's the That's the 4-3, because you usually lined up directly in front of his face. Like you got half a man, right? It's usually a 6 to a 7. Now we're talking wide 9s and things like that. So it's a little bit of a difference, and that hand in the dirt makes a difference because you're starting a lower body position.
There you go.
The whole point of that whole technique is I'm going to put myself as low as I physically can go, and I'm going to spring out of that step.
Yep. And now you could say, I would say Shaq had 2 elite seasons, but you can't say he was the most consistent elite. His seasons.
That's what I mean when you put it all, like, we're talking Hall of Fame. So I'm going to call guys who are Ring of Honor level or Hall of Fame or Hall of Fame eventually guys. Ndamukong Suh and our boy JPP, and I will say this: in the future, Antoine Winfield Jr.
Oh, of course. But in that's
remains to be seen, because I'm going to follow my own advice that I always say is got to give them time. But the trajectory's on. I can believe it could be. I believe he can do. I can believe he can do it.
Right, and I'll say this: here's where something in the past might hurt Levante. Brooks didn't have an offense like Levante. Like just think about Brady, Evans, Godwin. Who the fuck did we like? Keenan McCardell ain't Evans. Keyshawn ain't Evans.
Yeah, I mean, we're in an era of football where the Buccaneers' identity changed from 2020.
Right, where we
became an offensive juggernaut that could play really good defense.
Right, not a defensive and that 2000
passable.
Right, so it goes hand in hand. I think the Levante and Derrick Brooks debate will go on for years to come, but if he gets another Super Bowl, damn. I just want Levante to get one because he deserves it, of all the shit he's been through. Ladies and gentlemen, we just told you who Levante had to play beside his whole career for like 8 years of bullshit.
2020
just think about that. Like, that's like being at a job where you're getting paid. Yeah, you're getting paid the minimum, and then you finally get that promotion, and now you know what it's like. Man, I just want Levante to get it. I think Levante definitely deserves it.
Yes, he did. He went to USF.
Yeah, he a Florida boy. That's another controversial thing, but we'll get into that another time. Slick, it's basically who produces the best natural born players from their state.
It's two states, right? It's Florida and Texas.
I tell people this all the time. Texas practice football as a religion. Florida is the religion. That's just what we're into. That's what we do. With Ray Lewis. Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, Slick. Hey, hold on. The two best people on here are from Florida.
There you go.
Lewis, Florida. Derek Brooks, Tallahassee boy. Come on now. We just talked about Prime. I just gave you 3 Hall of Famers. Prime. Oh yeah, Warren Sapp. That's 4. Oh shit. Frank Gore. Woo. Fred Taylor.
What about Reed? Where did Reed come from?
Fred Reed's from Louisiana originally.
Oh, is he? Right.
Yeah. I can't use him. I wish I could. If I had Ed Reed in there, that shit would be fair. Yeah, but again, who else? Dante Culpepper. Yeah. Who else? Sean Taylor. Vilma. Willis McGahee. Clinton Portis. Oh my gosh, it's just too many. It's too many Florida people. It's too many Florida people that are produced. That I just gave y'all Hall of Famers out there. All of the Hall of Famers. Texas, I love Texas. Slick, I ain't knocking y'all Texas, but when it comes to football, the best, not always the most, but the best of the best is Florida. Tim Tebow's of the world. Come on now, college. Tim Tebow is arguably the greatest college player of all time. Arguably. We'll talk about that. But that's just something that I just had to bring up. And I wanted to show this one more thing, and we'll wrap this up again because I really like your draft stocks. This right here, that's solid. I like it. I need that. I need that shit. This one was good too. Let's check this one out. This was good. If Jahad Campbell in a perfect world was
healthy, this is my favorite one. This is the one that I talked about a little bit coming in before the show and what have you over the internet. I'm hoping Jahad Campbell can get healthy before the season starts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to be bringing a first round pick that I got to wait for him to play. But if that's what I've got to do, then that's what I've got to do. I can always look at a different. Landon Jackson, I wanted to go in a route where we do get the pass rusher, Kevin Winston Jr. And I said this earlier, we need to pair somebody with Winfield. So we'll go with the 2 juniors.
Yeah.
We'll go with the 2 JRs. And then Zy Alexander is a guy who plays a good chunk of zone, but can play a bit of man. So I like the look of him. And I just felt that the way they've talked about Jamal Dean, I don't think they're going to spend an early pick on him. Maybe a third. I could believe a third, but I don't think their first 2 picks will be a cornerback.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't, because other than the last season, his Dean's play hasn't been poor. It was poor last year, and you can argue that the injuries were a reason for it. Now he's got to put up. Now he's got to show that it was because he got the money. And now I need you to put some shit up and give it some. But here's a question for you all. I saw a lot of people going mad on that Florida guy, the big boy.
Oh,
like we should draft him, and I'm like, I don't think we need to. I don't think anyone's gonna draft him. He's a project. He needs a project. And he's a project. And I like the sound of the project, but that's an undrafted round. That's an undrafted free agent.
I agree.
Maybe a seventh. I could argue that.
And again, we got to see that his stamina also play at the NFL level, and that's where a lot of people don't realize that just because you run fast in the combine, that is good. That's very good. I'm happy for him. I want him to get the recognition, but like you said, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we are in win now mode. Every piece that we get counts. We can't have, like you said, projects. We need
I
people
mean, you
that
can with the 7th round pick. I mean, anyone from 5th to the 7th round are projects anyway. They're never going to start straight away. They're going to be special teamed. If you're lucky, they're special team starters who have a rotational part on their in their positional grouping, right? But someone like him is a pure project. He's probably going to be a practice squad guy his first year, and then see, like, if that kid could shave off 100 pounds, he could, and he doesn't lose his aggression or what have you, and he can still do what he does, then yeah, then you're looking at someone who could be potentially a bit more special. But I think people just see size and go, well, that's going to work.
That's not how it always works. That's not how football works. Because you got to be able to move and use your size to your advantage. And what happens if there's
technique? People think being big, it makes no fucking difference how big you are on the defensive line. I want to see your technique. I want to see your hands.
And
you can't ball rush someone every time.
Right. Sometimes being that big can go against you because, like you said, what if their technique is fucked up and they tire themselves out and they become useless on the line? There are going to be times where, one, you got to get up the field. What if the team doesn't know huddle, Slick, and because he can't get up the field, anybody, now you're putting your team at risk. So
I like to. I hope he does well, and if he does get drafted, congratulations to him. But I just don't see it right now. I can't. I think there are better defensive tackles out there in the NFL draft that you can get rather than just this guy who's really, really big.
Right. I would hope that if he lose 50 pounds and maybe gain another 10 pounds of muscle, that would be different. But I if the Bucs were to pick him up, like you said, put him on a practice squad or a 7th round, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Of course, because at the end of the day, like, that's what the undrafted free agent system's for, right? You bring in a guy. That's where your projects are. Your projects are on the. We know he's not going to start immediately. We'll have a look at him. Let's see if he can acclimatize to game day. You got to remember when you see a guy who's not so who's lower on the depth chart and they play at the 4th quarter, and people are like, this guy needs to start, and I'm like, playing against 4th-string defense. Calm the fuck down. Calm yourself.
It happens all the time, and we see certain preseason games like, guys, that's against the 3rd and 4th stringers. What's going to happen when he gets in there with starters and they blast his ass?
They know. They know already. The team knows what's going to fucking happen.
Exactly, and
because they'll have reps against the first team. They're like, you know what I mean? They'll be like, okay, you're going to go up against guys. You're going up against the 2nd string defense offense, or you're going up against the 2nd string, just to see where you measure. We're going to see if you, hey, Bob, we're going to see if you're going to go from the 4th string defense. We're going to put you in the 3rd string defense and see how you do. Then you got the one-on-ones, tackle on tackle, mano on mano. That's where the fucking, okay, yeah, this guy's got something, or his technique is fucking flawed.
Exactly. That's just how it is. But on that note, Slick, I'll let you guys go on that. Thank you again for tuning in and Bucs Report the Aftermath 102.9 The Game, Broad South Street Radio. Y'all take care of yourselves. We'll be back again. The draft. Hey, we're officially in the draft month, so let's get ready.
Go
Bucs. I'll see you later, my guy.
Yeah, man. Look after yourself.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys, that's the end of the show. Thank you for sticking with us. And everyone who commented, Stephen Pryor, predominantly Stephen Pryor, Giovanni Zizzo. Thank you for commenting. We appreciate it. And your Buccaneers have got some directions to go in. What do you want in the NFL draft? But I can tell you right now, I would be surprised if the Buccaneers draft a corner in the first 2 picks. I just don't see it happening. And that's fine. I can live with that. But I want to see some improvement from Dean. I'm hoping it's just injury. It was just injury, and he comes back and has his play, and he's that dude again. On top of that, I would say linebacker is a must. It has to be in the first 2 picks. You could slide into the 3rd round, but I'd want it in the first 2 picks. Pass rusher, I'm not as alarmed about. I think you could go in the 3rd round or the 2nd round with that, and I'd like to get a safety somewhere in there too. So ideally, I'd go linebacker, safety, pass rusher, or linebacker, pass rusher, safety, dependent on what falls, where I like my guys, on where they fall, where the chips fall in the draft. But on that note, guys, thanks again. Bucs on me. Bucs on free. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs.